So with our younger friends here this last week, it brought me back to remembering when I first met the Dharma. And I was thinking about what my ideas were about progressing on the path. And, there's nothing similar to studying the Dharma in my mind compared to what I used to study. But that was the framework that I came with. And so I had this idea that you study and you learn things and then you progress and boom, boom, like that, quick. And that is not how the Dharma works at all. And thinking that way led to discouragement and frustration for some time, I will say. And so the analogy that I use to help my mind still is to think about the process of weaving a tapestry to create a beautiful rug. That's how, to me, the Dharma works. And so at first, when you're starting to create a beautiful tapestry, there are individual threads that aren't connected yet. And so it's not possible to see what the pattern of the rug looks like, what the design is. And so when studying the Dharma, it's very similar. So there's many threads of information that we get, but they're not all connected yet. So it's hard to see how they fit into the big picture. In fact, it's even hard to see what the big picture is. I still don't know the big picture. But I was thinking about an example. So when we start studying the Four Truths of the Aryas, for example, when the Buddha described the first noble truth, the truth of suffering, or a better translation is unsatisfactoriness or dukkha, he spoke about 3 types of dukkha. And so this topic alone is very vast. And when we first study it, it's not really, where do you put that into the scheme of things? How do you connect all the dots? It's not so clear, at least it wasn't for me. So just thinking about the first type, the dukkha of pain. So that's physical and mental pain. So all animals experience this, physical pain for sure. Many of us, humans certainly, also experience mental pain. So just thinking about that, then I start doing some connecting. So everybody is just like me. I am just like everybody else. So now there's a thread that's connected in this tapestry. Also thinking about this kind of, the first dukkha, or any of these, the 3 types, then it helps me understand what we experience here. And that's hard, though, to figure out because I'm conditioned to think that this is the best place and everything is wonderful and it all will lead to happiness. But that is not what I actually experience. So now I'm starting to connect some different threads in this tapestry, that it isn't like what I have been conditioned to think that it's like. Then the Buddha taught that destructive actions such as killing and stealing and lying bring physical and or mental pain. So that's another thread in the tapestry. Then countering the pain and the actions that cause it, he taught ethical conduct. Now some more threads in this tapestry that are starting to get connected. So now when I experience physical or mental pain, in the past especially, I would resist physical pain, and I would blame mental pain on something outside of myself. So I wasn't accepting it, and I related to the physical or mental pain with a very afflicted mind. So that is following the self-centered attitude. And so when I follow the self-centered attitude, progressing on the path stops, or is way slowed down. It pretty much stops. So to get back on the path, then I have to call on my compassion for myself to break the hold of the self-centered attitude that it has on my mind. So now that's another thread to connect. Now, if I don't know how to relate to myself with compassion, if I use the tactic of criticizing myself into accepting the pain, which I did for many years, then what happens? The pain increases. So then I'm digging myself a hole, not helpful. Blaming others for my mental anguish keeps me disconnected, keeps misery in my mind. So all of this takes a long time. Maybe I'm a slow learner, but this took me a long time. Just this little itty-bitty teeny piece of what I've been practicing. So to detour from this misery and developing compassion for myself takes time. What does that even mean? How do I even do that? It's an attitude. How do I develop this attitude of compassion? I have to keep looking inward and really discern, and it's subtle at first. First I can't find it, then it's very subtle. How do I open my heart to myself? At first I didn't know how to do that. I know how to do that with others. And so one of the images I used a lot when I was first working with this was thinking about using my imagination, because that's very powerful. It's a powerful tool to use our imagination. So I would think about 10 or 15 baby kitties or puppies coming and jumping all over me. Oh, there they are. And so then my heart opens. Okay, that's what that means, heart open. Now to myself, oh. So now how can I bring that feeling, that attitude to myself? Especially when I'm struggling. Much harder. But if I keep working with this, keep working with the images, then I can start calling upon that and be gentle with myself when there's difficulties. And you can see I put my hand on my heart a lot, because that reminds me of what it feels like to have open heart. So at some point, when we keep connecting all of these threads of this beautiful tapestry that we're making, over time, then we can at some point understand the vast view of this topic, just this little topic, that the Buddha's teachings it's not a little topic, the Buddha's teaching on the Four Noble Truths is a description of the actual nature of reality. That's huge. That's the vast topic. That's the vast topic. So that's the big picture. Now, when all the threads are connected, this interdependent web, this tapestry is actualized in our hearts. So it's a small example how complicated this tapestry is, yet as we progress, with whatever we can practice, whatever things we can start connecting, we become more content. If you check up, you'll see, you become more content. There's more space in the mind and heart to be kind, to help others. Because we practice, we're learning about our minds, and then we can begin to apply the antidotes to get out of the misery that we're currently in, whatever that form takes. But all of us are so different. Our minds are so different. This takes time to practice and to figure out which antidote works for which situation at what time. And they change over the years, too. But over time, we start building up a repertoire of more and more antidotes. It's like the medicine chest that we can go to. And after some years, we have some antidotes that we know what to apply to this particular kind of mind, this particular day, in this moment. And then we see that that turns the mind. That turns the mind. But this is a slow process. It's not fast. It's not like studying at the university, not even remotely like that. Venerable Children tells us often that we just need to be content to create the causes. Quit looking for the result. Be content to create the causes. When we do that, we will progress because this path is infallible. It works. We see that in this community, how people are when we first come to how we are after some years, totally transformed, totally transformed. It works. It's infallible. And it takes time. So out of compassion for ourselves, we allow for that time. We don't let our mind to get discouraged. We don't think about getting on some fast track. There's no fast track. We have to do the work. And it's messy, and it's painful, and it works. So may we engage in this beautiful path through the eyes of compassion and wisdom for ourselves and others, so that we can progress on this path and be able to become fully awakened, so that we then have all the skills to really effectively help all beings in the most excellent way.